Most organizations, you've got data everywhere, but sometimes insights are scarce, reports are slow, and teams, they sometimes build these shadow systems just to survive. If we want to make real impact, let's take a step back and create a shared strategy that aligns people, process, data, and technology. And when we have that, we move into defining our data platform. Your data platform can act as a unified engine to ingest, to harness data, to collect data, enable your data governance, and ultimately work to deliver effective business insights and iteratively build it out to drive real business value. Let's step into the details. The first step is the initial assessment. We know we want to build something iteratively, something that will grow over time, something that will evolve over time. So we start with a lightweight assessment, an understanding of the entire data landscape, where data lives, who owns it, and what the business depends on. You've got systems here, data there, data there, data there, data there, owned by this person, this department, that financial system, that transaction system, this business system, this logistics system, etc. So we bring that all together and we assess the overall landscape. We want to understand the current level of data governance maturity, get a high-level assessment of the trustworthiness of the data, and ultimately capture those high-level pain points: slow reporting, inconsistencies, lack of trust, bottlenecks in access. Out of this initial assessment, we set the stage to create a data strategy and a roadmap. Let's jump into that. We look at your business problems. We look at what we can solve with data, better forecasting, compliance, financials, etc. We work together and build that shared roadmap to help an enterprise become data-driven. And it's really, really important that at this point in time, it's not set in stone. Things are going to change, and they're going to change fast. So fluidity here is key. We start to create what we call a MVDP, minimum viable data platform. And this will go on to solve multiple problems very early on and many more problems in the long term. Enable new business capabilities, enable better insights. And as part of this strategy and roadmap, we really, really want to bring the entire team along to share in the vision. We create a future target state, super high level at this point, very conceptual, to really get people excited about the opportunities a data platform is going to bring. And we might start off with both a business data view and a more technical view. Get everybody aligned, from your technical people, your architects, your engineers, your data teams, your data analysts, your data architects, your business teams, the whole gamut of people. Get everybody aligned, excited, going in the right direction. As part of the roadmap, you've got our technology selection. We want to understand your current landscape, use that to build out what the future is going to look like. This video is about Fabric, so we'll look at how we bring Fabric into your enterprise and look at how we can augment other systems that you do have and incorporate other data technology into the equation. And it will all form a cohesive part of your data platform. And so since we're talking about Fabric, ultimately part of the vision in the roadmap, and this is where it gets pretty exciting as well, is also understanding where Fabric is going. Like, it's evolving super fast. So there's a ton of features currently available, a ton that are upcoming, a ton that are in preview. Understanding what's what, understanding what's on the roadmap, being involved in that entire ecosphere, it's incredibly important. In fact, we're on top of that and we guide our customers through that. But having your people in-house, having your enterprise excited about Fabric and getting really, really into Fabric is going to be key as well. Let's get into some of those Fabric details. Conceptually, your Fabric environment could look like this, at least at the beginning, as part of a MVDP. You want to get your foundation right and build out just enough to get going with a quick POC to prove out your MVDP. Get your security down pat, create your access groups, assign roles, figure out your guest access using Entra ID and Microsoft 365. Make sure to lock down that Fabric environment. Lock down your capacities. Start with a reasonable set of capacities and scale. Create a workspace strategy, which could incorporate one workspace per environment per layer. There's different variation there. You'll create a lakehouse and warehouse strategy, design the initial structure, streaming patterns, data storage patterns, along with consideration for ingestion patterns and data engineering technology choices. You're going to build out the area where data governance touches your technology, and that could include building out purview for data cataloging, classification, policies, data quality, compliance management, and data discovery. Now let's get back into the main presentation and talk about NFRs. As part of building out your MVDP, minimum viable data platform, you're going to have certain non-functional requirements that are just going to be intrinsically, inherently part of the platform. We work those out as part of our initial platform implementation, because this really sets the stage for your entire platform that you're going to be building upon. And there's a lot that goes into it. Backup and retention, privacy, cost control, performance, disaster recovery, your lineage, your metadata, your monitoring, etc. Getting those things down pat early on as part of the platform really sets the stage to how we're going to grow and effectively use a platform over time. Additionally, data governance, that's going to be critical. Early on, we assessed the current level of maturity of data governance. It's going to get more critical as we start building out an actual data product as part of the MVDP. Now let's get into that initial data product that's going to form the core part, the core product for the MVDP. We look at that original assessment that we made. We work with the teams to figure out, based on this assessment, based on this really high level understanding that we know the enterprise wants to go to, these were some of the pain points here, here, and here. This is where you trust the data a little bit. This is where you have pretty high trust in the data, where we've validated it quite a bit more as well. You have a requirement for consolidated reporting in financial insights, but you need data for, let's say, 3 systems for that. And you have all this logistical stuff over here as well. So a lot that's really going into this. To me, it's kind of making sense that we do this, and you're talking with the team, and the team has these different ideas as well. You come up with something that we think is reasonably going to move the needle. And we prioritize that based on what can we build fairly quickly that will actually enable additional capabilities as well, iteratively. So we prioritize and we help select the best option that's going to, 1, give us a delivery in, let's say, 3 months, and 2, allow us to iterate upon that, build additional data products on top of that we can deliver in another 1, 2, 3 months. And a lot of that comes down to, is there shared data between the data products? Can they reuse some of those shared workloads? We ingest data to, let's say, get some master data, build out slowly changing dimensions, build out a data architecture around that to support this use case and this data product. What else can tap into that? And that goes into the decision making in terms of how we select a data product, the initial data product. And once we've got that data product selected, we've got that alignment, we've got that executive sponsorship on it, incredibly important. We start working deep with the teams and we design this whole thing end to end. We've already got a platform in place at this point. We start designing, we can start ingesting, we can start getting to the point where we see the vision as to how we're going to get early insights to enable that, and then dashboards, etc. We build out what this whole thing is going to look like from a design perspective. We work with a team to ensure adoptability, to validate alignment and adoptability every step of the way. We start understanding their current workflow in more detail, understanding their current standard operating procedures. We ask a lot of questions, they ask a lot of questions. The key is not to just emulate every single thing they're doing now, because they're probably doing a lot of things that are very manual. A lot of standard operating procedures where you have very, very talented data people that part of their job is to get data from Mary in accounting, augment that with data from Tom in logistics, bring it together in a pivot chart, talk to this other team to get some other data, bring that in, cross-reference, merge, combine, going back to the operating procedures that they maintain, doing further calculation, aggregation to prepare a very solid data set that they then pass off downstream. And they're very effective and they're very good at what they do. There's a lot of value in what they do. So they're going to ask a lot of tough questions. And they really need to see the vision to see how this is actually going to enable them to provide even better value, even more value to the business, to make their job easier, because now they can trust the data coming in. They've got a lot of additional capability to do a lot more with that data than they ever could before. A lot of the things that, let's say, they couldn't do before or that were way too time consuming, now the data can be right there, ready when they need, trusted, etc. So bring them all along for the ride. Get them to believe in the vision. Make sure they're on board every step of the way. And as we're building the design, we get into the technical pieces of it. We're talking about Fabric right now. So because the minimal viable data platform is going to be including this initial data product, this initial data product really sets the stage for some of the early patterns that are going to be used to evolve this system over time. Lakehouse architectures, potentially a warehouse, how you structure your workspaces, your medallion layers, your bronze, your silver, your gold. Maybe you need more layers on top of that. Maybe you need only 1 or 2 layers to start. The key is to make those decisions to really get the right footing for your initial data product and your data platform as a whole so it can evolve. Understand the team. Understand what their technical capabilities are. Understand what the enterprise is investing in terms of technical expertise. Your data and engineering, there's a lot of different ways to bring in data into Fabric. Data factory, Python notebooks, data flows, and there's different intricacies involved in each of them. Maybe data flows are okay, and maybe you accept that increased consumption cost with using them. There's a lot of new features coming in Fabric. Some are available now in preview, some are upcoming. It's good to get a good beat on that. And then comes the alignment, the adoption. Everything is coming together so that we know what needs to be built. We're aligned that that's going to be built. We're aligned on the data, how we're going to use and shape that data. We're aligned on what's going to be delivered. And we're aligned technically on how we're going to accomplish it. And we start to move forward. And we build iteratively. Now, a key tenet here is going to be adoption and change. Many data projects are going to fail simply due to lack of adoption. You could spend 6 months, 2 years building something that no one ever wants to use. And they might not want to use it for a lot of reasons. They might not even trust the data, even though the data might be trustful. They don't know it's trustful. They might be stuck doing things their own way. They might have their own reasons for doing things a different way. So it's very, very critical to make sure that you're checking in on the team regularly and you're ensuring that you have alignment and adoption every single step of the way. Part of that is delivering early wins, seeing that value early on, incrementally adding more data capabilities, more data products over time, and assess and reassess and validate that things are being used, validate if there's any concerns. If there's any concerns, take a step back and reassess. And as part of this iterative development, this iterative implementation, we revisit our data strategy and our data roadmap. Remember I said your data strategy and your roadmap isn't fluid. You're going to take those lessons learned from this iterative implementation and apply that back to your data strategy. Adjust it, revise it, keep it fluid. If you want to be successful, keep engagement high. Keep everybody involved from the business, executive sponsors, technical, data teams, all stakeholders. Forced adoption is not going to work. People have to buy into it. I hope this has helped you while formulating your own modern data strategy for your enterprise. And this approach We start with the pain points, build the first product as part of a foundation, ensure a minimum viable level of governance, ensure governance is embedded as part of the process, and keep users engaged. We work with Fabric every single day. We work with and partner with different enterprises, different organizations. And this iterative approach, starting with your MVDP, brings you from 0 to value quickly, while allowing you to build on top of that iteratively, where your data platform really becomes the unified enabler of the entire data function in the enterprise, with feedback loops that allow you to make sure that your data strategy is current and continually represents the direction that's most appropriate for the enterprise. We go from 0 to insights very sustainably. I love to answer any questions you have. Feel free to reach out to me, questions, comments. I can give you advice, tips, whatever you need, questions about this video. If you want to get into more details with me, absolutely, let's have that conversation. And let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback in general about this content and which areas in the future you'd like to see me dive deeper into. Thanks.